Here we go. A long, long time ago, I'm gonna tell you a story. I my ego my ego got the better of me. I was young, had on a pair of snazzy boots. I got caught up in the rhythm of the clicking of those boots on the wood walkway. It was a little wet out. And about the time now at the time, my ego had delivered some arrogance right to my chest. The unseen realm knocked me to my backside, laid me out like the cross. My right foot went straight out, my right foot and leg went straight out, and my left was pinned behind me. My foot sitting placed right under my ass on it. Um, 3 breaks in my left ankle, both outside bones and inside bones, all of them clean. Wound up in a cast, of course. I lived in a second-story apartment with my little children and the guy, their dad, I married. And I had gone out, I can't remember why, but I had to get back in the apartment and go up the stairs. I had crutches. I was alone, there was nobody around. And I was trying to get up the flight of stairs. I decided to try to hop up. I became impatient with my abilities to maneuver. And I decided I was going to hop with crutches under my arms, in my armpits. I'm holding on, and I missed the mark. I missed my mark. And I began to fall back. I'm in a standing position. I got the crutches propping me upright, you know? I couldn't I couldn't drop them. Once I started falling, I couldn't release myself. I couldn't grab the rail to the right of me. There was a wall to the left of me. And I remember the tipping point, when I hit that tipping point of no return. And I thought of all the mistakes I had made. And what crossed my mind was, I'm not gonna live through this one. This was the mistake that I wasn't gonna survive. And like I said, I had just passed that tipping point. There was no return. And then I felt a large hand, fingers extended, come in contact with my back. There was no force to it, it just showed up. And it set me upright. As soon as I was able, I grabbed that rail to my right, and I turned immediately to thank whoever it was, and there was no one there. There was no one in sight. I could see the parking lot. There was no other soul, not an earthly, in this world soul right there. And, ah, I'm hoping that this content will be some medicine for somebody at some point. This is about this, the ego. When you're young, you're really wrapped up in your own ego. That moment there was a threshold in my life, you know. A hand that wasn't there caught me and set me upright. When a human reaches the limit of their physical capacity, the soul world steps in. When the ego cannot save itself, the unseen does. I was out of options. I wasn't out of protection. I didn't know it. I didn't realize it then. That was just one more thing that I absorbed, but there wasn't no one I could share that with. Not that experience. Not then. And, guidance, it speaks in different ways, you know. Sometimes it intervenes without announcing itself. And sometimes protection arrives in silence. Guidance isn't always symbolic. Sometimes it's literal. Sometimes it's physical. And sometimes it's a hand that comes out of nowhere. It comes out of the unseen realm. If you're at a point in life where you feel like you're tipping backwards, where you cannot catch yourself, where you have to, where you don't have a rail to grab, and you think you won't, has been a message delivered in my life, and possibly in yours, if you've seen the patterns. Personally, I see patterns. You know, I've lived long enough that I've seen patterns. And to my listeners, I need you listeners to help me here and let me hear from you. Uh, if you have any kind of stories like this that has happened to you, I would love for you to share it with me. But I pulled some cards yesterday, and my guides are telling me my soul group, my soul group's telling me that I need to bring this level of truth to the channel, you know. Um, Recently, I'm just feeling like I'm kind of floundering here, you know. I don't want to do character assassinations in readings. Um, you know, I not into playing games. Um, Politics reading on that seems pointless at this point, you know? At least in my sense of things, you know? And it's always the same old thing, you know? It's a repeat. The day a hand caught me, what the unseen does when you're falling. You don't know they're catching you, but they are. And you don't know how it's going to uh, turn out, you know, how it's going to develop, show itself, reveal itself. We're in such unprecedented times right now. My soul group tells me that these type of stories are important, and I always knew, you know, 5 years ago I picked it up, you know, that I needed to tell my stories. I didn't know how, you know. I didn't know how, you know. They're not your run in the mill. I haven't had one of them run in the mill normal type things. So, um, patterns uh, reveals human limits in spiritual intervention. You know, and I've had a number of them in my life because guidance doesn't always speak. Sometimes it catches you, like it did me, and possibly did you too at some time. You know, um, just remember you're not unsupported and you're not falling alone. Your soul group, they're hovering, they're watching, they're listening, they're waiting for you. You know, they're waiting for me. Yeah, that was a root truth, that moment on the stairs, and I didn't know it, but it was a hinge, um, a spiritual imprint. It was a place where my soul and the unseen world touched in in a way that shaped everything that came after that. And there's another story I'm gonna tell, not today, but it followed this one. Only in that one, it was 2 vehi 2 vehicles. I was in one of them, and they passed right through each other. You know, this is the truth. I know how jammed up we're all feeling, you know, with all this that's going on. There's a greater plan. There's a greater plan, and we can't see it. And the clarity is not gonna it's there's some clarity, but not all of us are seeing the same message. Not all of us are seeing the same thing. You know, it depends on where your soul is, you know, and how evolved it's become, not just in this life, but in prior lifetimes, to what you're picking up on. So I wanted to share that with you. And I and like I said, I want to hear from you if you've got anything like this that's happened in your life, you know, because it'll help others. I'm looking at my notes. I think I have shared what I wanted to share, and I hope that makes some sense to you as out of whack as everything feels right now. there's a reason, and there's a reset that it it can't happen without this discomfort that we are all feeling at various levels. So I just wanted to share that with you. Now I'm gonna pull some cards and I'm going to. Okay. All right. All right. I had Carl, I'm sorry if you're gonna come back and catch this. Uh I just now I'm turning on the chat. I'm gonna read to you. I pulled let's see, one, two, four oracles I'm gonna share with you after. And the first one is the Mystery of Wisdom Oracle, and the message is Epiphany, seek clarity. Okay? The Epiphany card, seek clarity. So if you're just coming on, I hope you will watch the replay so you can hear the story that I just shared. Another card. Now these cards, these oracles have to do with the story I just shared about, experiencing my ego and my soul group for the first time and saving my life. And that was the first threshold. So I hope you'll catch that. So the oracle for Ask Your Soul message card, we have got practice self-discipline. Practice self-discipline. Very important during these times. All right. And then we've got a message from the Soul's Journey lesson card. All right. Courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. Yeah, because there's some fear to share in these stories. For me, yeah, there is. And now we've got a card from the Sacred Traveler, Solitude. In silence, peace prevails. So I think we can all learn from that one. In silence, peace prevails. I like that. All right. In silence, peace prevails. The solitude. All right. I think I may have lost some people, but it is what it is. I am supposed to be sharing this today, so I would hope somebody got something useful out of it. Solitude, the message on page, what page is that, Loretta? 95. Okay. For some reason, I have to use my magnifying glass when I read out of this little book here. Let's see. Let me find the page again. I'm almost there. Hold on. Hold on. And if you think that's what I shared was really lousy, just let me know. Tell me to give it up. Okay, so solitude. The Sacred Traveler wants you to know your power is born in stillness. Sometimes the traveler is in such a hurry to reach the next peak that he gets, or she gets, separated from your spiritual source. However, when the traveler takes time alone, everything falls into perspective. Take time out of your day to be completely quiet. Take deep, slow breaths. Imagine inhaling vitality and exhaling all that is not needed. Affirm that all is well. Move past the chatter and chaos on the road of life. Be still and hear the voices of your higher self and your spiritual guides. I believe I'm going to just refer to them as my soul group from here on out. Yeah. So that's the message there. All right. So does anybody have anything they want to talk about or they want me to read on? Um, I will do that. I'm now open for questions, but I did want to share my story. Yeah. My soul group is guiding me. That's real important. And yeah, I've had a multitude. That it wasn't 6 months later when the other one happened, where I was riding in a vehicle. We were eastbound on I-90, west of Ritzville, Washington. There was a white box truck traveling westbound. And we were just about up on them, to where they pass right by. And another little car popped out from behind. I remember seeing the whites of somebody's eyes. And my girlfriend and her boyfriend, longtime friend of mine, was driving her car, and her child was in the back seat with me, her little girl. I seen the whites of the eyes, and I threw a jacket over me that I had in my lap and bent over her, and we went right through. None of us said a word about it. And I didn't speak about that until, well, how long have I been here? So, okay, 3 years ago when I was living in the other place. Hi, Miriam. It's good to see you too. Thank you for being here. I was, what was I saying? I was in the other place. Okay, it slipped. um, oh yeah, I was telling my neighbor 3 years ago, because she's an oddball too, and she's about 10 years older than me. Well, she is 10 years older than me, and she would say cryptic things about herself, and I picked up on it. But anyway, I eventually I wound up revealing to her about the time that I was in the vehicle. And this happened on I-90 just west of Ritzville, Washington. Well, Richland, she tells me she's living at Richland at that time, which is south, a little south, but it's all in the area, and that they have local TV programming at that time. And she tells me she hears about this. She heard about it on the morning news that this had happened. To say I was stunned is putting it mildly. I just couldn't believe it. Sometimes you hear things or I do, and I just can't. It just can't absorb that at the moment. I pushed back 3 different times, and we didn't speak about it again. And a year would pass before I would go visit her and bring it up and then talk about it. But she had been living in Richland, Washington, and she heard about it because, that white van, box van, had at least one soul behind the wheel. I don't know if there was somebody in the passenger side or not. And I know that the little vehicle in front of us had 2 souls in the front. I don't know if anyone was in the back seat, but I remember, like a flash, there's someone else in the front there, and I saw the whites of the driver's eyes. It was that kind of thing, before I threw the jacket over me and bent over the kid. And no, none of us talked about it. Never, never. And we weren't in a place mentally or spiritually, emotionally. It was just a very traumatizing phase in my life, to various degrees. So the s- the soul and the ego, the soul is the bridge, or the Sophia is the bridge. The consciousness of the universe is the bridge. We all have the soul. We're all connected through our soul. But like I said, when the physical world can't help us or save us, the unseen, the soul, it steps in. Yeah, they can be very traumatizing, Miriam. Yeah. But, like I said, we passed right through each other. There was no accident. There was no accident, you know. And I've been in, thank God, thank the universe that the accidents I have been in have not been, real traumatic ones. They've been comparatively easy, considering what can happen. So, yeah. No, anyway, um, do you, does anybody want a card read or, anything like that? Just let me know, and I will do that. So, yeah, we passed right through each other. Yeah. Yeah, there was absolutely. If I was a ghost. Oh, that's interesting, Marion. Did you have a hospital stay after your accident or anything like that? You know, for you to, you know, wonder about it? Yeah. Yeah, our cars passed right through each other. And this happened, it was around 1976. Yeah, 76, 77. I think it was 76. Can you ask my guides if they have a message for me? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. All right. I've got I'm going to use the Ask Your Soul message card. See what we get there. The conclusion, the first responders were all exclaiming because I was alive. That was soul intervention then. The realm, the unseen realm, yeah, they saved you for sure. I mean, if other people are that freaked out, oh yeah. But My, and I guess my brother and sister, within 3 months, and I mean last month, I guess I haven't talked about this. Um, okay, in April of this year, my sister, my surviving sister, 8 years younger than me, 'cause my other sister passed about 10 years ago, and or our other sister, who was closest to me, um, she pulled her handgun out of her holstered it was a holstered handgun in her purse. She pulled it out. Evidently, she never has the safety on, and it went off. It was a hollow point 9 millimeter that ricocheted around in her small body. She's not a big person, and she should not be walking around today. Shouldn't be. She's gearing up her own little cleaning business, and she's doing that. Oh, no, she's fine. She's not she's still with us. And then the 11th of July, about the 11th, I find out a week and a half after the fact, I've got 4 brothers, and the one that is my favorite, that him and I, sometimes you just resonate best with different people in your family, and he happened to be the one, you know, and, he was nearly murdered at the hands of his, 27-year-old grandson who's mentally he deals with schizophrenia. And he was in an episode, he had been off his meds for 2 months for some reason, I don't know. And it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and he came in at my brother with a 2-inch the knife was 2-inch blade, because he was in this friggin' crazy schizophrenic episode. And my sister told me when she was checking in with me, and she sent me he took 3 pictures of himself. He had to have at least 40 staples across his neck, starting up behind his left ear, down across. At least 40 staples. He traumatized the medical people is what happened. I guess he was in the hospital for 4 days. Mental illness is really hard, yeah. But he loves this kid, and this kid loves him, you know? And the police are all freaked out. They want him to press charges. No, I ain't pressing no charges. But I got 2 siblings within 3 months. And the only reason they're walking and talking and operating completely, totally fine is because of the unseen realm. And yeah, it's amazing. It's so I've been settling with this, and then so my soul group's working on me, and it's like, okay, and I've started doing the speaking to the sovereignty of souls, every other Thursday with BJ and Nicole. BJ's Esoteric Musings and Cosmic Blue Avian. That's their channel. And it's because of the times that we're in right now that, I am feeling compelled. I'm being pushed to talk about this stuff, to bring awareness to it. that we're not sunk, even though we feel like we are, with the cost of everything skyrocketing and this crazy, unhinged, mentally deranged, malfunctioning brain is sitting behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office, and these nimrods, knuckle dragging nimrods that are surrounding him and he put into positions of great importance in our country. Nobody in this physical realm is going to save us. It's the unseen that is, you know, they got a plan, they got it mapped out. And we're just going to have to know that this is going to pan out. And in order for us to be set right on the path that is going to allow humankind to evolve, whether we like it or not. And the soul part of me loves this, you know. The ego part, it's difficult, it's difficult. But we gotta have a balancing act there. And man, it's gonna happen. We've got to. Evolution, evolving, and growth, it's what everything is all about. Not just in our world, but in all the other worlds. So, yeah. Miriam, I'm sorry it's taking me so long. Let's see. The card I got for you is tune into your soul. Tune into your soul. That's exactly what it says. Because that's what we're talking about here. Tune into your soul. Okay, and then the unseen at the bottom of the deck, the message here, work on changing your thoughts. Now this is for everybody, Miriam, including you. That's beautiful. Beautiful. And let's see. This is I'm going to pull the Soul's Journey lesson card, all right? For you, Miriam, and other souls that need this also. How you doing? All right. I know that. And if you're coming in late, please do catch the replay because I tell quite a story on my experience, the ego and the soul. Okay. I pulled this earlier too. This was the one that came out earlier, courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. So that's also what we're talking about. Find the strength to face fear. Oh, and then the unseen is death. I am learning that endings are merely beginnings. And that's very true. We need to remember that, Behind that, we've got freedom sitting. I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. It's very important that we all remember that. Yeah. Most humans have that problem, Miriam, by having negative thoughts. Yep. We need to, I did a video not too long ago about rewiring the brain, because our thoughts, what our a attention, what our ATTEN, what our attention is on becomes intention, INT. Though, and that's a real tricky vortex right there. So if we can, and this is not easy. It's you just got to practice it. This is what I've learned through my own struggle with it, with getting these stinking thinking thoughts to hell out of my brain. You know, we need to stay present and always practicing. As soon as we notice that those icky thoughts, we acknowledge them and then set them aside and change that frequency. It is tricky. It's very tricky, but the, but like I said, it's a practice. It's a practice of staying present and keyed in to what our mind is doing with our thoughts, you know. And so yeah, and it just takes practice. But as long as you keep on it, you'll notice within a month a very um, uh, a change that you can feel, and it'll resonate with you that this practice is working, you know. But we just have to keep with it. We just have to keep with it. Okay, well, let me get these other cards out. Let's ask the mystical. We got the mystical wisdom here. We'll pull one of those too. Yeah, but yeah. So I've been feeling a little, you know. There's got to be something more, you know. And I think I've been trying to play the game of, you know, how, excuse me, how people are operating and reading on their channels. And, you know, I'm not a political reader. I mean, I do read on it once in a while, but man, I don't like it. It's just icky, icky energy in there, you know. And, you know, bless, bless Susan Lynn for what she can do, and Dr. Lena for what she does, and Mary Ann, and Libby. You know, they're incredible. Yeah, and they're the ones I keep an eye on, because I just can't. Yeah, I don't even watch TV anymore. You know, I listen to a whole lot of music, but you know, it's what I need to do. You know, you do what you need to do to keep your frequency up, you know? Because if you think about it, you know, the frequency became sound, became matter, you know? Yeah. Just, whoop, here we had one fly out. What do we got flying out here? Archangel Gabriel, the message of creativity and hope. The message of creativity and hope from Archangel Gabriel. Yeah, I like that. What else we got here? What else we got here? Go with the flow, let things happen. Yep, that's what I've been saying. The soul group that's, you know, overseeing, or they're the orchestra of all this, you know. Let's see. And this next one says illusion. Illusion, embrace the truth is what it's saying. Illusion is embrace the truth. You know, because if you're here, you know, you can see the truth. I know there are many out there that can't, and including my siblings that I love so much. And I do, you know. And I know they love me as crazy as I am, as crazy as I've always been. And I was speaking to my brother, the one that one. And during speaking to him, he told me, he goes, "You can be scary," because I mentioned nobody told me. Nobody, nobody told me right away. And I guess he was in the hospital for 4 days before they let him go. And they've always seen me like that, though. But I'm the oldest, so I guess I have to be scary at times, especially if you're not wired into anything deep, deeper than the surface, the ego, you know. Yeah, I think I'm kind of just babbling right now. So what? Okay, I'm gonna do Sacred Traveler. See if we get a message here. Oh yeah, and I got the Gypsy Oracle cards are out. So I think I want to pull a little bit of those and see what that tells us, what messages it have in there. For those that are interested. There we go. You're welcome, Miriam. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Oh, we have answering the call. The time is now. Answering the call. The time is now. Well, we'll have to. What is that telling us? My goodness. Answering the call. Okay. Sounds like it's important. All this is important. All right. Let me get it. Here we go. All right. I shouldn't have to hunt too hard for this one. Here we go. Answering the call. Okay. So I'm going to read the whole thing, and the time is now. The card meaning you've been called. The sacred journey always starts with a call. You might feel ready, or you might be uncertain or not willing. But when you receive the call, you must respond. That's what I'm doing. I'm responding to a call. I got it yesterday. Okay. If you've been waiting for your life to turn out, the waiting is over. Your true and authentic life is happening. If you've been hoping for a sign, this is it. Right now, you've been called, and a gateway is opening for communication from the spirit realms. The energy of courage surrounds you. Now, I pulled that card twice during this reading, the courage card. You may not know what the future brings, but you do know that it is now time to act and go forward. I know this is me acting and going forward. Okay, here we go. So, the sacred traveler wants you to know spirit is trying to get your attention right now. Your spirit helpers are telling you that this is your time. Listen with your heart. Your time is now. Do it now. Throw your shoulders back and take a deep breath and plunge forward. The waiting is over, no matter what concerns or hesitations you may have. In the deepest sense, you are ready. Believe, trust, follow the signs. There will be many, and miracles will abound. Okay, there we go. All right. Answering calls. Oh, really? That's funny, Miriam. This is so funny. You said answering the call as my phone started ringing. I love that. All right. That's cool. Okay, so is there anything else? Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull some of these gypsy cards and see what kind of message is in there. On the unseen in the sacred traveler is finding sanctuary, opening to your spiritual source. We all need to be doing that. I do too. I do too, Miriam. Okay, let's see what the gypsies are going to talk to us about. What do you have, the little gypsy cards? I have a little book on the gypsy cards. I might use it, I might not. Okay. Yeah, we're almost up on an hour. So, yeah. Yeah, if anyone's got a story, where the unseen realm reached out and snatched you from the jaws of death, I'd be interested in hearing about it. So leave it in the comments or email me at Loretta Ann's Place. Well, Loretta Ann's Place at gmail.com. You can reach me that way. Okay. So, Soul Group, you got a message for us? What message have you? What message have you for us today? For the viewer, what message have you on this day, August 4th, 2026? Okay. Cut the cards. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. And we have Fortune. Fortune is the first card up. Journey comes. Journey. Fortune. Journey. And this is wedding. Fortune, journey, and wedding. So, and then we've got love. Huh. Fortune, journey, wedding, love, and service. And service. Fortune, wedding, love, and service. Fortune, wedding, fortune, journey, wedding, love, and service. There's a message in there. The unseen on the deck is waiting. So we are waiting. The fortune and the journey are facing one another. Wedding. Is there a wedding? Weddings are not just weddings, but they're a union, right? So we're talking about a union happening. So the fortune is made available by way of the journey, solidified. The hinge of this is the wedding, the union, the coming together. So we've got the archetype of, say, the Hierophant, where the system of both the fundamental and the religious, or the institutional, that's what it is. The institutional system of governance and religion are represented in this card, along with the male and feminine, the male energy, the masculine and the feminine energy together. And then we've got the love card looking adoringly onto them, onto the system. And and then service is waiting right there. You see that? So this is the fortune. Service is here over at the end, looking on. These all are lining up. They're all lined up with the unseen waiting. It's like this is an activation point. So this is like an activation point where these 5 solidify. The unseen realm is watching and waiting. We live in interesting times. Yes, we do. That's all I could say. We live in interesting times. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off. I think unless somebody's got a question they want to ask, or you want me to pull a card for you, I will do that. All right. So in the meantime, we will sign off, and I hope you all have a very lovely day ahead of you. I am wishing you healing energy, sending you healing energy. I want to send you healing energy. I've let my candle burn out. And remember to love yourself, love the others, and be the light, because you are the light. We're all light. So keep your frequency up. Keep practicing the thoughts, uh, tweaking them, into uh, helpful thoughts, positive thoughts, whatever works for you, because we are all very individual, you know, and we all have our own frequency, but we're like a song, with the different tones, the different chords, you know. So let's keep working on tuning our own vibration, our own frequency, bringing that up to warm our hearts and our soul, and um, knowing that this is going to pass, this discomfort, but we've got to walk through it to get to that better level of frequency for all of us. This we are all one unit, both in the unseen realm, in the unseen realm, and we are here in different vessels, but we've all need to vibrate. One good example that uh, that we are so uh, disjointed on in the United States is universal health care. We don't have it. The rest of the intelligent world has it. So we're not being so intelligent, you know. We can't we can't keep harming our people and expecting them to sing kumbaya. it don't jive. We know that. So we wait, and work on our own frequency, elevate, keep elevating ourselves, and we're gonna bring them along. It's slow, it don't feel good, but we'll get there. Just know we're gonna get there. This isn't for nothing, and our children's futures on the line, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren. And if you don't have any of that, sorry, but it still matters. The children are the future, and they deserve a kind and gentle, fulfilled future. Yeah, everybody's got their learning curve, you know? Every generation has got its learning curve. That's what we're here for, you know? We're here for the mission of the soul in the evolution of human beings on this planet. That's our focus. So raise it up. Have a great day or a great rest of your day, however it lands. All right. Thank you for being here. Please do leave a message. Evidently, they don't show likes anymore on the grading system here. So messages, comments are very important. So do that for the algorithm. Muchly appreciated. My soul group will be happy. I will be happy. Thank you very much. All right. I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and Thursday, Selma. Selma and I will be here Thursday answering questions all the way long. And if it goes beyond an hour, that's no problem. We're up for it. All right. So hope to see you on Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. All right. Find your spot. Hope to see you there. Love to you. Bye bye.